You have a copy of the
Agenda?
agenda. That's what I meant.
I-
Did we get a packet this time? I must have
Yes.
missed that. No. It was in the email. I know. I only managed
And
to
there-
try to save the tree. Okay.
Yeah, there is a-
Maybe just post the agenda.
okay, let me,
Oh, no. Maybe that hurts the ability to see.
well, it's fine. You know, I don't think we have anyone in Zoom, so,
Okay.
and I can always just share my screen.
Great. I mean, I can kind of remember how it goes generally. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go around, announce who's here. Patrick Bradley, present.
Barry Rodman, present.
Sue Pittiger,
Alec Ornstein. Don McCabe.
Linda Gray, Lisa Close.
Matt Stewart.
Stephen.
And great, and so we're just missing Emily.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's on
She'll
her,
be in-
yeah, she's on her way.
Of course, yeah. Great, okay, let's, I think we have had a chance to look at the agenda. Any edits or proposed amendments? Okay, can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
Yeah, I'll second.
Great, all those in favor? Okay, unanimous. And how about the minutes from our last meeting? Are there any edits?
I have some questions about your all recollection for, here, let me open them up. The McCampbell hearing. I wasn't sure, because I was taking taking notes and sort of talking at the same time.
That was the Turnpike
Yeah, this is,
up near Guile Hill or?
no, this is on, 225. It's on Beaver Meadow.
Oh, yes, this is the.
And I put it up as a
subdivision.
preliminary plat hearing with, because I believed it needed a waiver of the driveway requirements. But I think I seem to recall, Matt, you maybe.
It was it was the slope, it was a waiver to cut into a slope greater than 20 some odd degrees, not a waiver to have a driveway at a greater pitch that's allowed.
Okay, yeah, all right, I wasn't sure if you were having an issue with the issuing of a waiver at all, or.
No.
Okay, it's just some clarification. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can,
Sorry, it locked up.
I don't think we necessarily need to change the minutes to reflect that discussion, but we can, well, I don't think we do,
I
but,
don't think it matters.
Yeah.
but for the decision, I'd like to, now I understand what you were saying.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Push it out. All right.
Yeah.
We'll see in the decision, we'll see it in the.
Yeah. And on the same sort of topic, I wanted to ask you, do you guys feel like there's a need to hold another hearing to review their final plat?
Well, the development envelope was already marked out on the map that we all looked at and didn't have a problem with.
Yeah.
Driveway was right there, yeah.
And yeah, the issue seemed to be the driveway, and we did ask questions about the extent of development, and it seemed like the slope of the land limited their development anyway. So, I mean, I don't think they even had the ability to pull a fast one, so to speak, on us, because the nature of the topography makes it so they flattened out the place for their house. What else can they do? So
As long as the final plat is the same as what we reviewed, I think.
Yeah. And I think it is, and it would be.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can, the decision will reflect that understanding.
Cool.
I would only say that, I don't disagree with you, but it's been my observation being on DRBs that over time, what can't be done this week may be able to be done next year or the year after. And so I do try to keep in my mind, septic rules are a big, the obvious one.
Yeah.
That we used to say, well, they're not gonna be developing there, you could never set a septic system there. And then septic systems and septic rules caught up, and it really blew a hole in that thought. And so I am always cautious about saying, oh, never, the nature of the terrain or something like that it needs to be our rules that make, that guide the development, not the terrain, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, you know, I think our rules actually do a really good job with the development envelope. Sort of limiting development to that envelope, which, I mean, you can amend that, you know, in a future proceedings, but you have to go in front of the DRB to get any changes, and that sort of limits the development potential.
And in this case, I like your scrutiny of it because it is going into a forest block. And
Yeah.
we're not trying to just open up, you know, the Homestead Act out there, so it's good that,
Yeah,
yeah.
Thank you.
okay, so I'll circulate the draft for the McCampbell decision, and then, you know, I want to do it this week, so.
Okay, well then, with that being understood, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Sure, I'll look to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Second,
Awesome.
thank you, Linda.
Are you taking notes?
Oh, no, I don't.
No, I will, if you will allow me to pause for a second so I can go get a pen.
Should call this son's name
Aiden.
I've run into him a few times since he's gone to school. And I was
You guys are amazing that you remember. Bob and Emily had a nice conversation. He knew. Emily was so impressed. He knew what he knew.
always.
Okay, so we had a motion by Matt, second by Linda. And all those in favor? Aye.
I'm gonna.
You're
abstain.
abstaining.
Me too.
Two abstentions. Makes sense?
Yep,
Great.
thank you.
And for approving agenda, I moved and Sue seconded.
Yep, all in. Okay,
All right, next, moving on, we have public comments, no members of the public online.
no,
Okay, so moving on, announcements.
I don't have any announcements.
Moving on.
Well, that's not true.
Ah.
Sorry. At your
Oh, no.
at your pleasure.
Please.
So the planning commission at our last meeting voted to approve the amendments as written, and we're going to hold a public hearing on the changes to the bylaws at our next regular meeting. Which I think is the 13th of June. Or the 17th, sorry, the 17th of June. It would be fantastic if some or all of you could attend virtually or in person to you know, show support for the edits.
So is these are edits based on the comments we submitted?
No, this is a,
Previous.
So the planning commission has been working to sort of modernize the bylaws. So we're looking at you know,
I thought they were doing an overhaul,
yeah.
and this is approving the overhaul?
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay.
yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And what was the date?
The 17th.
Specifically to us,
When we yeah, when we you know, warn the public hearing, the draft will be complete and final at that point. No further changes allowed. So at that point, yeah, I'll circulate it to all you
Did they
guys.
have time to consider?
Yeah,
Our Alex, excellent question, request for clarification.
yes. So that was on the agenda for the planning commission. They acknowledged receipt. There was, you know,
Anybody can take the reservation.
And there, you know, there was some sort of general discussion about the sort of background and motivation for that. Jan posed the question to me if I felt this was something that we could address in this, this round of edits. And I think it's, it raises more questions than we had time to really get into at that point. So, I'd like to look into the subdivision regulations sort of, whole cloth.
Yeah, is this meeting on the 17th including major revisions to the subdivision regulation as well?
No, I wouldn't say major.
Okay, but there's some.
There's some, yeah, we're adding in the concept of lot mergers. So you don't have to go through a boundary line adjustment to do that.
Okay,
We've expanded the definition of subdivision and we've expanded the definition of a lot.
I feel like we get a lot of subdivisions, like, you know what I mean, more so than mergers. In the last 2 years at least.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I
I
mean,
just kind of feel like, yeah, it would be nice for them to tell us. So that next time we don't, which path to follow.
yeah, I think there was sort of a misapprehension about a requirement to review annexations. I mean, that doesn't necessarily require if you own 2 lots, it's in contiguous ownership. Many municipalities will just deem those merged.
I thought we were talking about the issue of like, in a subdivision, how you use your remaining subdivision bullets.
Yeah,
Wasn't that the issue?
yeah.
yeah, that was,
Okay.
sorry, I thought, okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying, did they have a chance to kind of update the language there to make it a little
No.
more clear?
No, not in this round.
What is there a schedule for another round? Could they just do it at, I mean, is there like is this gonna be another years for them to do?
Well, but they did the zoning, not the subdivision. Is that right?
Well, I mean,
Or did they do?
You
it
said
all?
there are some subdivisions.
there are some
okay.
changes to the subdivision.
Okay.
I'd address some of these questions. Can you just
Let me know.
like
No,
give a brief summary of like what they're doing? Because my understanding is that there is a desire to have what one might term an overhaul. And this is just what's coming up in June is just a piece of, it's like, it's not the overhaul. It is just you were trying to address certain legislative things.
Yes.
Then you'll have more to come. And they will come, like, can you outline, like, will it be another 6 months, or will be another little batch, and another 6 months after that, a batch, or?
That's really at the, discretion of the chair of the planning commission, how we're gonna schedule this out. I understand the urgency for clarity in that, and,
We get those are what we get all the time.
No, I know,
I don't
I know.
wanna be like,
what do we do? What do we do? And I also don't wanna
I guess we'd follow, maybe we just follow, I think we'd follow suit.
17.
Yeah, no, but it's like, so they can either
Well, just
take it on, they can either take it on.
well, I think,
Isn't Jeff on the planning commission?
Jeff Goodrich?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the
So-
vice chair.
And he like has all the history in his head about when it was written and the intent.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
if they agree on which lane to tell us to go down,
I will raise the question again.
please.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, there was,
I mean,
I don't think there was, no one was dismissive of the question or its urgency. But the focus is, getting the bylaws to a point where, we can stop editing it and take it
But I
to.
feel like they asked us like for years, like, tell us the things you need. And like, we're all just kind of like, I don't know. Reads like, Middle English, but we don't really have anything specifically. Now we have something specific.
Yeah,
that we're asking.
That's what I love living the town. We
Yeah.
don't really know what we want or need, but we're willing to talk about it.
Yes. I mean, I think.
the select board meeting was 5 hours last night and they did not resolve the
Dogs.
dog park, did not come to a resolution. the animal ordinance. So, yeah, I don't want to get off topic here.
I guess all we can do is ask again.
Yeah, and
That would be.
I think hearing you, we can still make modifications up to the point where, we warn the public hearing. So,
Did you include? I'm gonna expose my cards and show I didn't maybe read it super closely, but did you include proposed language counselor?
I did, no,
Well, we could do their job.
well, my proposed language is to just delete the section.
Interesting.
That's easy.
I don't know. if
Um,
that- yeah.
I think that's a reasonable ask. I really do. It's,
That's why.
Yeah.
and I don't think it helps.
But then where does because you think that the zoning thing just the zoning calculus just takes care of itself?
Yeah, I mean, the next subdivision said, the next subsection says you have to do this calculation. every
Yeah,
time you
okay,
do
okay.
yeah,
a subdivision,
Good,
so let's just do it, like,
okay,
I just think we just.
yeah.
what Ernie was saying and sort of defending it was that they didn't want to, in the process of, subdividing, grant a lot more, or grant more lots than the original calculation provided for.
So they don't trust their calculation.
Yeah, I don't get that, I mean, the calculation's a calculation unless you change the formula, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
I guess, doesn't that go against like,
I-
rule against perpetuities or something?
Yeah, I mean, if you
If,
feel
like,
like.
if the regs change, you can't like,
You
put a
shouldn't be
burden-
bound by the old ones, like,
Exactly.
if you're gonna change the formula, then it should apply in the future to
Yeah.
a new subdivision. That's-
yeah, I
Otherwise,
agree.
otherwise you'd be locked by like
Okay,
1850.
No, I'm not trying,
Whatever.
Yeah.
the code was.
no, I'm not trying to get already through you.
Yeah, thank you.
So mathematical.
Here she comes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're now the chair and the clerk. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And plus, you gotta, keep going with the minutes.
Minutes.
Okay, yes.
Um,
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Alec, yeah, I'd be happy to put something forward to the planning commission. So we can talk about that.
I agree with Patrick that we should, like, sooner rather than later, because
I
we do
think-
get a lot of these,
Yeah.
and I still have yet to hear a good reason for having this.
Inertia of what it
Yeah.
is, I don't think we should assume they're gonna be making another one anytime soon.
In the sequence, the issue is like how
You're right.
quickly can we encourage the planning commission to seriously take this up and incorporate it? These changes that we would recommend in something that they wanna, have a public hearing and adopt. And so it seems like having them include this in this, the group of changes coming up in June seems perhaps like they might not be happy to try to do that, but we can encourage them to do it as soon as possible after and.
Yeah, I think we should having had this conversation,
You're too
and
nice.
the a clear recommendation to just remove it.
Yes.
I.
They need people to stop talking and
Yeah.
make some decisions. That's all they need.
But just a follow-up perhaps.
We could just send them the video of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We don't need this.
Highly redacted.
A date for that, we would strongly urge you to make that, then Alex, we get you to write it and just.
yeah,
Clarify.
I think
Clarify the issue.
yeah, let's give it a shot. I mean, I understand that, the point about inertia. Clearly, this is not something that we're gonna, it'll be months before we sort of take up a second round of sort of reform revisions. So, and if if the outcome is, the best outcome is just delete it, that's easy.
Yeah.
I don't think it really, affects any other parts.
Addition by subtraction.
Addition by subtraction. Well, we'll have a regular meeting and the public hearing.
For example, if we get the letter off to them relatively quickly and it gets to them before that regular meeting, should we show up at that regular meeting to say, hey, here's why we think you should incorporate this and have it be part of the public hearing coming up? Like, would that help?
I think, well, the public hearing will be held at the same time as our regular meeting.
This-
No, no,
So then I just show up on the 17th and bring this up at the public hearing.
yeah, and
I think you should give a
Yeah.
warning.
we'll do both. Let's do both.
All right, well done, team.
Well done,
Well
team.
done.
Yeah, you said I have to bring.
We support you.
Yeah.
Less is more. Less is more.
Yeah, delete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I'll
are a civic warrior.
try to whip something
You
up.
know that?
Yeah,
It's what it's all.
and Alec, I can also just, bring the message to,
Yeah.
the chair and,
Which-
the recommendation. I don't think you necessarily need to write another letter.
Okay, let me see how much time I have.
Okay,
Love it.
yeah.
Appreciate if you could do that, and if I can get around to it, maybe I'll address, but.
Let me do that, and if needs be, I'll let you know.
And we
It
can,
sounds like a
we
real
can
good-
refer them to these video minutes.
Yes,
There you
Yeah.
Or video recording,
go.
yeah,
non-advisory, what is it called?
Yeah,
Advisory, open meetings or something?
Yeah.
Non-judicial.
yeah, sorry,
All right, so moving on, next, is that your last announcement?
yes.
Rules of procedure. Yeah, the rules of procedure,
Yeah,
and then we have election of officers. Those are our two.
Yeah, that's the-
meaty topics.
yeah, that's correct. So we do have a rules of procedure document that was signed and adopted in 2014. These documents sort of, define the role and function of the Development Review Board. I think the current one that we have is adequate for its purposes, though when I'm reading it, I kind of feel like it's shouting at me. Whereas the alternate rules of procedure, I like a little bit better because it's very basic in its explanation of how, how to conduct a hearing,
Mhm.
just all of the roles and functions, and it's really easy to
Is
understand.
this borrowed from?
Yeah, it's I think,
Standard kind of,
yeah, it's VPIC.
cool, okay,
Yeah,
this one.
Is there, can you highlight like what differences there are? I was thinking of like printing them out.
Alright, hold on, hand in. I
You
like-
did it?
Yeah, I'm
What
like
did you
a real
notice?
book.
Yeah.
I like things in my hand.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Just like what Steven said, like this one, the whatever they, section ones versus the 101s was very, domineering of like, this is how it is and this is what's going on versus it seems like Article 1, Article 2 is just more like explanatory and like these are the roles and these are how to fill it and this is when it happens versus like this shall be and this will be and oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay, oh, the nice one.
I'm looking here.
Yeah.
There's
Can you
Read it.
say what quorum is?
Just more than.
Yeah, it
right?
does, section
It-
6.
Yeah, it talks about what a quorum
Majority of
is.
the entire board.
Both documents do.
Okay.
It talks about vote by majority. It lays out all of the the rules of procedure, describes site visits, talks about,
Regular meeting shall be held in the town hall at 7 PM.
Yeah.
On the first and third Tuesdays of the month. So we can make a little edit there.
yep. The two sort of substantive things that the 2014 document has that the proposed one doesn't is discussions of or statements about MAPPA, which basically, by adopting these rules, we're complying with MAPPA requirements, which basically just sets a sort of minimum threshold for procedural procedures at these quasi-judicial boards.
I'm saying it's not in, what, so why is it not in here? It's good with me, but. like,
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure why it's in here and why it's not
I
in
mean, we
there.
got our authority reference, anybody,
Yeah.
everybody knows 24 VSA 4461,
Yeah, they do.
and you
Yeah, we're memorized it, yeah.
Yeah.
gotta, go to the code, it's in the code.
Well, may I make a motion?
Yeah,
There's one more,
Oh.
one more thing that the 2014 document has that this one doesn't, and this is this public email distribution list. I don't like this at all. I don't like the fact that we have this sort of private opt-in list for residents of Norwich to get, agendas, packets mailed to them directly.
oh, is this something Pam has to administer? if they-
Yeah. And
Administrative burden for the listserv and posting it.
I mean, not so much, I don't really mind. It's not much of a lift. It's just adding some, we have the email distribution,
Yeah.
that's pretty locked in. It's the fact that it's not crystal clear how to opt into it. And we're not sending it to everybody in the town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And, so it's like,
Should we lie?
addition by subtraction,
Yeah.
that's the theme of the night.
I like it. So I think we're gonna still sort of continue that practice. But I don't want to memorialize it, and I want to also sort of wean the town off that.
Sounds, makes sense to me.
Well, because, I don't want to get,
No, we're slowly making a step towards, we're taking it away.
we're taking it away.
That's what Steven's proposing.
Yeah, it's not gonna be, we're not, in the rules that we're adopting, it's not gonna include this.
I view our relationship with our zoning administrator as an important partnership. And this is the Steven. This is your time, man. You're coming in, making these changes. I'm totally in full favor of how you want to drive this thing.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I second.
That
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay. I'd like to move that we adopt the draft rules that we have to replace our 2014 rules of procedure.
I'll second that.
Can I just, it says Tuesdays, are we gonna
Oh,
use that
with the,
That
yeah,
one.
with the
Oh, we did
edit.
that?
yeah,
to the first
Yeah.
Thursday of every month?
yes.
Okay.
I'm willing to read this and just do a few like edits.
Okay.
And then send that to the whole group. If
Yeah.
that works with the goal that we'll vote for it.
That's right. Well, it does say 7 PM first and through Tuesday. It also said that we have to do our officers by May 1st. So we.
Well, we're a little late.
So
First Thursday and as needed at the call of the chair on the third.
Oh, okay.
we
Yeah,
do the current third Thursdays are what we shoot for.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. With the first Thursday being optional if necessary.
Cool.
The motion is to adopt them as amended as needed with regard to the schedule.
Yes.
Okay.
As amended in regards,
To the meeting schedule.
in regards to meeting schedule. Got it. That is the motion on the table.
And we have a second.
Second,
Yep.
yeah.
All those in favor? Nice work.
Great, I like that.
I like that.
I like
I like this, Linda.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, okay. Yeah, let's see if we can get out of here in,
All right, we have the duty and the privilege of electing officers. I should note that our soon to be rules of procedure and conflict of interest policy state that we should elect a chair, a vice chair, and a clerk.
current,
We might want, this is what we just think we're gonna go towards.
um,
I think the other ones have working.
Did it?
And the clerk does the notes, right?
Well,
No,
Yeah.
it said.
Said
but
staff.
it says-
the staff does the note.
Yeah.
That's point D.
yeah,
So
and
let's-
I'm happy to take the minutes.
I mean,
We'll elect a clerk, but I'm,
unless anyone wants to.
was reading the clerk is more Pam because she's like the admin and she sends out the you know, the
Okay.
packet. I don't know. That's how I
Yeah.
was like, who's the, oh, it must be Pam.
This rule set is for municipalities that have staff. So it refers to staff, roles, but yeah, I mean, Pam and I,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, it's like the speaker of the house.
That's not what, like,
In case of, yeah.
What did Craig say?
if the chair and vice chair aren't there, there's like a pro tem that's agreed upon by the members present.
Oh, the new ones say though that it said the
new one
clerk,
is
yeah.
clerk. Yeah, I guess I
Which
I
we
thought
are.
it was in the old ones.
That-
Chair and vice chair are absent or at the request.
Oh, that's a lot of power.
We have to have clerk.
All right, good. All right, so we know what the clerk does. Yeah, so let's take it.
Just a point of order, can we, in the motion to adopt these rules of procedures, would you all agree to adding the language, and authorize the chair to sign?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, sorry.
Who's gonna be the chair?
Oh,
Well, I think we're looking at it.
Yeah,
Anybody who would like to nominate Patrick?
Oh, I second that.
Nasty, nasty.
It's done.
Yeah,
sorry, Pat.
you, like you.
I would say, just for the record, that I'm happy to let someone else do it if they want to, but I will accept the nomination
You do.
if I must.
That's
Great.
good.
Yes.
you're amazing.
Stop it, I'm coming.
You are super awesome.
Oh,
Best chair ever.
all right, so then vice chair,
Well,
I'm happy.
I just sleep a little better at night knowing that Alec is the vice chair. I'm not just.
Two lawyers, that's the two.
Yes, yes, we do. Yes, we do.
When the shit hits the fan, then probably it will be a good thing.
That's an invariably does.
Should have said if, but I'm a realist.
All in favor of that, we all agree.
yeah,
well,
unanimous.
All in.
And now, you know where I'm going with this. I have a motion. May I?
Yes, you may.
I propose that Linda Gray should be the clerk in the event of Slay a Lawyer Day.
Slay a lawyer.
that one.
Yeah.
You guys sounds like it won't be very hard.
Yeah.
Hey,
Great job.
Good vibes, good vibes.
Yeah.
Zoning administrator updates, I believe is next.
Yeah, I don't have any.
Okay.
Interesting sort of uptake in violations. I've been doing a little bit of that.
Ooh, do tell.
Well, we had a noise complaint. We have somebody who's, with the heat pumps.
Oh,
What?
interesting. Heat pump.
Heat pumps, yeah, yeah. Yes, yeah. Well, it turns out his heat pump was faulty. So, I mean, it was a little bit of, no, surprisingly not. Way out there in the sort of northern hinterland, Union Village.
Those people on Union Village.
I know, I told you. So, yeah, there was a,
I've heard a heat pump out there.
well, you probably wouldn't have unless you were the neighbor who very clearly did. So, yeah, and
Yeah.
So that comes to you, how does that come to you? Is there?
well, in this case, sort of accidentally, they had been going back and forth for about a year. He had already sort of, got with a lawyer. They were writing nasty grams to each other. Yeah, and the guy who owns the heat pump was like, there's, I'm entitled to make some noise. It says right here in the regulations, and he reached out to me.
Oh.
And
Like
Yeah.
what legacy you have to stand on type, like.
Well, yeah,
Just as
you know,
property.
and, you know,
Is it result?
I believe so.
It doesn't sound like it's ever gonna.
Not perfectly resolved. Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing, the sort of confounding thing was, you know, there's a river in between. And so where is the? Yeah, yeah, but you know, sound is funny, you know, I mean, different vibrations, different tones.
Water.
Yeah, and so, you know, there was a lot of back and forth with measurements and all of that. But I've got there's another property up in our western hinterlands where there's you know, some, yeah, near Tiger Town Road, but not near you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there's a RV that's being misused.
Like a generator.
Yeah, well, somebody was living in it and now they've got dogs in it and it's in the wrong place and it's, you know,
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, you all know, you probably know what I'm
I
talking
mean, yeah.
about. Yeah,
They're like pit holes running wild, that like you can't walk by the place with
Yeah.
it.
Dog ordinance here.
I know, that's a thing, we want that shit.
yeah,
It is.
but yeah, I mean, aside from, I mean,
It's been there for 130.
this is the reason I do this job, right? You
Yeah.
know, for the,
Question for you.
yeah,
Which is, I've noticed that in the revisions coming up that the planning commission looked at, that if I've understood the minutes right, that there are going to be certificates of occupancy required in the
Yep.
verbiage. So tell us about that.
yeah, so
That's
we have, you know, certificates of occupancy and certificates of compliance are both municipal actions that municipalities can take. So we are going to institute a process to issue both of those.
For everyone in town?
Well,
Can you go back a step? Like, what does that mean? Like, if
So-
you have a, yeah, sorry, just like,
yeah,
this is for only built land or?
a certificate of occupancy, you know, basically establishes a sort of minimum threshold for, well, yeah, I mean, for a building that could be occupied. So it also signals the end of a building permit.
Yeah.
So you close out a building permit and you issue a certificate of occupancy. And it's there's a energy compliance component, the RB's form that is sort of attached to that by statute. But you know, it sort of prevents people from sort of endlessly rolling out building permits and
I mean, keeping them open, you're saying?
Yeah,
Only now?
yeah, just build.
Is the building permit supposed to be open now or? do
It's 2 years.
Years.
Yeah. And that's normal. I mean, I usually tell people, you know, 1 year to substantial compliance, 2 years to complete. There's always an option to extend that. And Norwich is very lenient in terms of extensions. So like up to 2 years beyond that. So
Yeah.
Hey, there's hamstring the do-it-yourselfers.
So who is going to issue the COs and will there be an inspector or are you the inspector?
I'm the inspector,
Oh.
but it's fine.
interested in relating to the residential building energy standards. So were you gonna be
Yeah,
checking on that they were really doing it? Right, because
it's a self-reporting form. And I don't pretend to have the expertise to fairly evaluate that. So I don't
Not being a building inspector.
not being a building inspector. There probably is some guidance in that process for zoning administrators like me who don't have this experience to check for. So similar to, the standard, do you have running water? Do you have power? Do you have heat? Is your septic permit recorded?
Well, and at some point, maybe I would like to talk to you about things that when a building permit for like new construction is issued,
Mhm.
how you can clue people, clue the
Yeah.
homeowner in to how to follow the energy standards.
Yeah, and we certainly will.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be part of the process. Yeah, I mean, it has to be. It's, if you issue certificates of compliance, you have to provide people with that information. No,
Nothing. Does this apply to currently outstanding permits that were issued already, but?
No. Yeah.
Big hole.
No, actually, there are no ex post facto laws in Norwich.
No, absolutely.
Won't allow it.
No, we won't stand for that. And it's also for buildings that are to be occupied. You know, not for your accessory use structures.
Would there also be a difference in the assessment value of the property when the building permit started and then when occupancy is?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is, if, you know, you are assessed differently
Yes.
if the building is, you know, in certain stages of completion.
Yeah, you can install things if you have a low assessment under construction.
Yeah.
It'll go on for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
yeah.
That's a loophole, huh?
Yeah, it is a
I don't
loophole.
like that though. I don't like cheaters.
Yeah, no, nor do I. But currently we don't have any way to close that loophole.
Huh.
The other one is a certificate of compliance, and that's really, it's known as a Bianchi letter. That's at the point of conveyance. You know, a lender will require that, you know, a form from the town saying there's no known zoning violations. So we're doing that in a strange way
People who borrow money,
for people who borrow money.
but if you're building
The-
cash,
Right.
Or if you want, as a buyer, if you want some insurance,
oh,
you
You can
can,
negotiate that into the.
Right,
yeah,
into the
right,
sale.
yeah. And it's weird, you know, in Addison County, Franklin County, every municipality, I mean, I would do half of the municipal permits I would do in the town of Ferrisburg were certificates of compliance. And this side of the state, nobody really does them.
Where,
Which is-
that's like near Shelburne, where is that?
Yeah, Shelburne, Ferrisburg, Virgins,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's revenue generation for the office and also just good practice. We don't do any inspections. So, you know, a certificate of compliance, you know, allows us to say, okay, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna look around. And, you know, if you've got a shed that requires a permit, you don't have a permit for that, well, we're gonna find you out.
and now is it purely complaint driven?
Yeah. I mean, the listers will get there. You know, they'll discover that stuff at some point, but
Right,
Might take a decade.
might take a
I
decade.
appreciate that you're reading the planning commission stuff.
Yeah,
Citizen superstar.
citizen superstar. Absolutely.
Alright,
Um,
it's interesting. Your
yep.
job is very interesting.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes more than others for sure. There's, yeah, the human elements.
Any
That's
other zoning administrator updates?
Nope. Not true. Sorry. In my urgency to get you guys out of here. So our next. One more thing, actually two more things. Our next regular meeting coincides with Juneteenth. So, which is a holiday. So if you guys could think about an alternate date, maybe the following Thursday, I think. Yes, we have
So,
Why not?
give us a hand, when is Juneteenth?
June 19th.
Thank you, okay.
So let's look at our calendar. I have a hunch the following. I
I'm
might be
in town the
going.
following week.
Okay.
Do it the week before.
Should we poll the audience?
Yeah,
When we
we'll,
get a
I'll
chance to look at our.
I'll
calendar.
poll the audience. And the other thing, so our next upcoming hearing is for an amendment to a development envelope review. And it's in a location that I think would benefit from a site visit. So it's Beaver Meadow Road. The existing development envelope is positioned right on the road and it's on a very steep slope. They want to build a driveway 1,000 feet long and put the development envelope
Top of the hill.
on top of the hill. And there's a plan in place similar to McCampbell to do that, but I think, I think it's easy for you guys to drive by there.
So you're suggesting we do it on our own versus a group?
Well, I'd like to put that to you guys. I mean,
Just drive to see what you can see from the road, not try to hike up to where they
Yeah.
go.
no, I wouldn't recommend
The
that.
earliest you tell us the address, maybe if you want, like.
John, I'll carry you on my back.
Okay, good, that's a deal.
An argument,
You could check in 2 weeks and if we haven't seen it, then we can.
Yeah.
an argument to do a site visit, I could make sure that the proposed driveway has been staked out.
Is it gonna be a big switchback thing?
Not really. I mean, it's somewhat serpentine.
When-
Uh,
Like, but before Tilden Hill, not Tucker Hill.
Tucker Hill.
Tucker Hill.
I know,
oh, I don't-
that's out of ways.
it's not that far out. I think it's 700. Approximately 700 Beaver Meadow.
So, by the murder barn house?
The what?
No, we'll talk, that's not the
Off the
definition.
record.
Off the
let's do
record.
this Off the record.
Off the record. I passed that today. I was just thinking about that. Yeah, that's about 700.
And that's a steep hill that recently sold.
Oh,
That must be it.
That must be it.
so the open field on the right, we'll tell you later.
Okay,
It's a horrible story.
sounds it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so but after McCampbell's and it's after parcel 5, it's between like parcel.
Is it beyond like the wood thing? you
I
know?
do, I don't know.
700 comes up right past Tucker,
Oh, past Tucker.
just past.
Yeah,
Max said about 7.
yeah. I mean, the lot doesn't have a locatable address at the moment, because it's undeveloped. I mean, the upper area is a much better location,
But not Ridgeline.
not Ridgeline,
Okay.
not Ridgeline.
They might have some crazy cool views.
So, there's a,
Your
it
south
really
to-
makes sense to do it on this,
Would be
it
great.
was,
No.
the driveway was staked.
Not
out.
if it's before Tucker.
Right, right.
And so, you tell us what you want us.
I think
The driveway.
what I'd like to do is, prior to the meeting, conduct a site visit, because the site visit has to be warned as well.
Yep.
And I'll
It's
have,
gonna be tight though, with so you're saying, it would have to be like, we gotta get going then, cause it's if June 12th.
yeah, if we do it the week before, and I don't want to do it that week. I don't want to do it that week because, there's planning stuff, planning commission.
Graduation, yeah,
Yeah,
let's go back. Go after.
Supposed to be on a 1st and 3rd, so would the 5th of June be?
For the site visit?
That's it, and then
is that, we could conceivably do that.
the 19th is the,
I just want to,
is the 3rd, and so like,
it just doesn't give us a,
Figure it out, maybe let's figure it out over email.
I think
Yeah.
I know what it
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
yeah.
Because the house that used to have a barn is 714 and the field next to it is uphill. So it's before you get to lot 5.
Yeah, that open.
Yeah, that open
Yeah.
area would be
Oh,
my
that was
guess.
on the market forever.
It was.
yeah,
Well, good.
Yeah.
Whomever bought it.
Yeah. yeah, I mean,
After the power lines before lot 5.
Whatever it is.
On the
Yeah.
right, at it end.
and if it's impossible to get a date in June that works for everybody, we can just
But
do
if
it.
we're not gonna huff it, why do we need to go there? Like together,
Just to see.
we could just.
Requesting they stake it out
We could-
as early as possible, I guess, would leave both
Okay.
options.
Then, you know what I mean?
I do.
I like if it's a matter of like wetlands or. You know, if we need to be, if there is something that we can glean from. Being there on foot, then it's kind of
Right.
fun part of the job, I suppose, but this is,
To drive up.
Yeah.
At the where the parcel meets the road, that's easy and we don't need to all.
that's kind of what I'm saying.
If there's some reason that
To look
for
at
us
something
to make our
specific.
decision, we
Yeah.
actually need to walk up where the driveway goes about
Yeah.
5 feet and get to the new location. If that's important, but if contour maps are gonna provide us what
Sounds
we
like-
need.
Yeah, and it sounds like we're not able to all walk off it, I don't know. If it's until
It's not
Yeah.
posted, right?
it would
No.
be staked.
I would ask them to stake out the driveway. That's fine. If we're, yeah, that's okay.
either way.
I would, you know, what, at your preference, and this is one that you can see the sort of significant issue from the road. So,
Okay.
I would support that. If we are gonna do a meeting on the 5th, we need to make that decision fairly soon, because
Here, there's a women's club thing on the fifth.
There, well, it's the rain date for the, and
I-
it will rain.
I do
They'll
not-
make me suffer.
Maybe it's been raining on the 5th.
I hope.
Hell hath no fury, like,
Like.
oh, yeah,
Okay.
the women's quote.
so-
Not doing that.
the 29th.
Here.
Oh, that's May, sorry. It'd be the
Nice.
26th.
20,
Is the Thursday.
yeah.
Okay.
So I'll,
But then-
Pull the audience, post graduations and stuff.
It's Boys State Capital thing.
I will not be.
I think.
I mean, if we can get a quorum,
Yeah,
that's,
let's see if we can get a quorum. I might.
all right, I would personally prefer the 26th than the 5th, just so,
Some time.
yeah, we got a lot of other stuff cooking.
I'm sure there is. We couldn't meet another night of the week. Or is
Um,
For like a special, like call
You're
it
saying
special
the
meeting. outside of-
18th instead of the 19th.
Yeah.
Or the, you know, instead of the, yeah, or the.
So there's select board meeting, there's other.
I mean, there's,
Yes, thank you.
yeah, I mean, all things being equal, I think we can, as long as we're able to warn it properly, yeah, we can change the time and place.
Mhm.
But I'll circulate an email and let's see, what's gonna work for June for everybody.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
Because the other possibility, if you,
You ran right through that email stop sign, Linda.
pardon?
So you ran right through that email stop sign.
Sorry.
17th is the planning commission meeting, right?
that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
17th.
Yep. That's fine. Whatever night you guys want.
Which one's a heavier lift in terms of like packets and getting?
Oh, the DRB if we have hearings.
Yeah.
Just because of the, you know,
So let's see what the
requirement.
26th looks like, or maybe the 18th.
Yep,
Figure it out.
yep. Yep.
Cool. Nice work.
Thank you, everybody.
The notice of decision for the child
Yeah,
one, I just noticed that in the decision and conditions on 1B.
yep.
It refers to item 8, but I think it's a typo, it should be 7.
Okay,
That's the thing that the letter's about. It was
Yes.
it was in number 7, it's not number 8.
oh, okay,
Of the facts,
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Great,
substantively fine, but yeah.
okay. And
I can redo it if you.
no, this is Colaccio, so, or did you
I
say?
did both.
Oh, you
are
did
good.
both. Yeah, I'll just, let me,
Actually, wait, you know what? I might have signed the same thing twice. They both are child. They both child.
they're both child. Okay, so can we get a blank Colaccio
And I
down?
get it, Colaccio.
Yeah,
Here's the column.
There come 3 Colaccios.
I'll see your Colaccio. Raise.
yeah,
No, that's a child.
yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9, 10, and this is the one that we're saying. It's in the,
This one is fine.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
error that
Child is.
Alec found was,
okay, in that one.
yeah,
In the findings of fact, the allotment, the allocation is in number 7, it's not 8.
yeah. Yeah, item 7, which is in the decision and conditions. Got it.
Okay,
Yeah.
you
So,
want me to just initial next to it or something?
yeah,
Can do that.
done and done. Did we have a motion to adjourn? Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Can I get a second? All those in favor? Right, doing God's work.
Apologies for being late. Thanks for your patience.
Yeah.
What's that? Well, it's